morning, viewers, and welcome to a great chapter of Plug TV and the Plugged Pod. And I'm absolutely delighted this morning to have on our show Mr. Gary Evans.
Good morning.
So Gary has been a formidable player, top flight professional, PGA professional, and playing all over the world, playing European Tour. And we'll be talking today to him about his career and the highs and the lows and how it all began, really, Gary. So you're obviously a formidable amateur, loved the game. A few years ago right now, back in 1986, I believe, well before there it started, but you won some incredible amateur golf tournaments along the way up to your sort of turning a professional. So I think a perfect question to set the scene is, how did you get involved with it?
Well, my parents were publicans and, worked 6 days a week and 14 hours a day, and I had a school just down the road. We lived in Worthing, and the school was down on the promenade. And when I was like 5, 6 years of age, my father used to pick me up from school, and if it was a nice day, there was a putting green on the promenade, and we'd go and hit some putts. But when I was young, between sort of 5 and 10 years of age, I played every sport. Anything with a ball, I would play. And then I joined Worthing Golf Club when I was 12 years of age. So I started going up there for lessons with a guy called Sean Geddes, who was one of John Jacobs' disciples, and developed my golf. And over a period of 3 or 4 years, got into the Sussex Junior program and was getting lessons from them. And then I got to about 14, 15 years of age, and my father said to me, you really need to pick one sport here, because I was playing cricket for Worthing. I played rugby, scrum half, because I was small and quick. I was playing all sorts of sports. Anyway, I decided to play golf because I could do it on my own. All the other sports I played were team sports, or tennis, or, you need someone to play against them. Because I lived in the middle of town, all my friends lived out of town, so I played golf, so it was easy. So I did that, progressed. I was very happy. My coach was a brilliant coach, and I think I was about 17 when I won the Carris Trophy, which was at Moore Park, and that got me into the English boys team. And then once I started into that environment, playing at that level, I saw players that were better than me, older than me, and I just wanted to develop and play as good as them. So that was how it began.
Amazingly, a lot of likenesses there. I also played lots of county stuff, and some of the lads may say, yeah, but you chose the wrong sport, Mark. But yeah. But can you remember, so much of this is mental, and so much of it is physical and technical, obviously, as golf is. But can you still remember 1986 and the carry as if it was yesterday?
The only thing I can remember was the playoff. I had a playoff against James Cook, who was then an England player, a very well-respected player, and I beat him in the playoff, and that's literally the only hole I can remember. We're talking a long time ago, 36 or 35 years ago, but I do remember that. But getting into the teams, playing for Sussex and playing for England, I really loved that sort of camaraderie of being around a team, because you felt a part of something. Being an only child, with parents that work all the time, you felt very alone a lot of the time. So being part of that environment was a really nice feeling for me. No brothers, no sisters. So I really kind of played off of the characters that I played with, and I really enjoyed that development. And then eventually, my amateur career got better and better. I went on to win the Brabson Trophy, the English Stroke Play Championship in 1990 and 91, and in the same years I won the Lytham Trophy in 1990 and 91, and that kind of elevated me, certainly elevated my confidence, because I felt at that point in time I had separated myself, into the sort of top 2 or 3 players in Great Britain and Ireland, and I felt I had an opportunity to actually go pro and make something of myself, down that avenue.
I mean, seriously, a hell of a profile and portfolio there of events. So without moving forward too quickly, I mean, incredible amount of talent to come out on top and win those events. How much of that, looking back, do you put down to an inner belief or an amazing technique, or both?
Well, so I was always brought up to, I was coached in one sort of way the whole way through. I was taught to understand ball flight laws and to control the club face. If you can control the club face and you had a good imagination, then effectively you could do anything with a golf ball. And back in those days, if you think about Seve, growing up with a 3-iron, my coach back then, Sean, he would have me chipping around a green with every club in the bag. He would have me playing bunker shots with a 4-iron, green side. So developing your imagination, understanding ball flight and trajectory, and spending hours and hours on your own around a green with a bag of balls, figuring out how to get a bit more spin, how to flight it a bit softer, how to hit a chip and run. That was something that I worked incredibly hard on, and I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel like work. I was just learning. That just felt like learning. But to me, confidence is the one big thing throughout my career, which it separates the good from the great and the average. And without question, I kind of refer to it like this: when you start out, you're like a sapling, and as you get better and better and better, and you win a tournament here, and you beat somebody else in a match, and you win your club championship or whatever, it's like the sapling grows. It's like the trunk of the tree grows thicker and thicker. And so for me, when you get to a point where that trunk is now solid because you really believe in yourself, the old sort of adage, when you walk on the first tee playing a match play and you look into the guy's eyes and shake his hand, and in your own mind you're going, I know,
I've won already.
You know that I'm going to beat you.
Yeah,
that is a power that you can't teach. That you can push someone down the road and try and explain it to them, but until they get there themselves, some people can't maybe understand that. But if you can get down that road, it's an incredibly powerful thing. So eventually, when you talk about pressure or you talk about a storm in a wind, that tree stands solid because you've got solid confidence. You have complete and utter faith and belief in yourself, so you can handle anything. And I won't jump too far forward, but effectively what happened with me when I had my wrist injury, and I ended up, in my sort of first, second, third years of my career, when my wrist went and I broke my wrist and I couldn't perform as well as I knew I could, and my results were getting worse. It's like someone's chipping away at that trunk, and suddenly you've gone from that big trunk back down to a sapling again.
Yeah.
So that's what I refer to as confidence. That's how I describe what confidence is. That's my way of doing it.
And then that's
so,
awesome.
Turning pro, my confidence, my trunk was solid. So tipping up at, I went to tour school, didn't know really, obviously a brand new encounter. I finished tied second. So going out on tour, I automatically believe, well, I belong here. This is where I'm supposed to be.
And anybody listening, which I know we have a lot of golf viewers, the golf world is massive, but by the same token, it's actually quite small. I went to Q school on 2 occasions and sadly didn't get through. And I recall I was 5 under on the evening, and then I fell to pieces, Gary. I was shaking on the tee like you wouldn't believe. And I think the pressure situation, it is a confidence thing, isn't it? It is a confidence thing.
Completely. It's completely that. It's completely self-perpetuating issue. If you decide that you're under pressure, then of course you're going to struggle. But if you remove that So, you know, if an alien came down to Earth and said, "Hi there, can you explain to me what pressure is?" You know, you sound like a fool. Well, it's something you create in your own mind because nobody else is doing anything.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know, what's the difference between a 5-foot putt to take a pound off me on the local putting green and a 5-foot putt to win the Open Championship?
Yeah.
Consequence.
What we put in
Only one thing is consequence. And if you build that consequence up in your brain as being a problem or a pressure, then, you know, the outcome is going to be very different, isn't it?
Very much so. No, and you're talking my language right now, which is amazing. So, never won on tour though, sadly, but I had one of the most consistent performers on tour, and I believe, if I get my stats right here, you were on tour till 2004. So from 1992 to 2004.
Till 96, actually.
Sorry, 92. What to?
I was 15. I had 15 seasons, 92 to 96.
Okay.
90 in. I had a medical exemption in, I think it was 95, and I had a medical exemption in 2004 because on both occasions, the first occasion I had wrist injury and I had an operation which put me out for most of the season. In 2004, I had shoulder surgery, so I only played 10 events in that year.
But still managed on one of those events in 2004 to get an albatross. Is that right?
Yeah. That was at the Open Championship, right? At Troon.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I was first out with Peter O'Malley and Brad Faxon, I think, and played the first few holes beautiful. Got to the par 5 fourth hole, absolutely killed the drive down there. I had 225. I still, now you see, it's weird how you remember things, isn't it? 225 the flag, pin up on the back tier, straight into the sun, and flushed a 5-iron, straight downwind. And there was this two people behind the green, because we were first out. It was like 7:15 in the morning, and I just had this one arm go up like that, like there was no one there. It was hilarious.
So sadly, we wasn't caught on camera either. No.
No.
There we go.
Anyway.
So you played many Opens, of which we're going to talk about a little bit as well. But you also played out in America, and you played in the USPGA. Yeah,
I had I played 10 majors. I had 9 British Opens and 1 USPGA. I think 2003. In fact, my next blog is going to be about my USPGA Championship experience. So I won't tell you all about it because otherwise it will ruin the blog. But to be fair, it was Oak Hill. Obviously, I'd seen it from the Ryder Cup where Faldo made that incredible up and down on the last hole. So I had a knowledge of the golf course from what I'd seen on the Ryder Cup. And Bernard Gallagher's team where they got victory. And it was without question the hardest golf course, or the hardest golf course setup I've ever played on. It was just so hard. I think 1 under par won the tournament. I think I shot 15 over and finished about 50th. I made the cut. I shot 74, 74, 71, 76, I think. And it was just the hardest golf course you've ever seen.
I mean, even harder than Henley that day, when the first day I met you. And I've got to get this. I've got to get this in there, Gary. I actually beat you on that day. I've got to get that in there. But no, that was brutal, wasn't it? That was brutal. But I mean, how did you mentally prepare for a major? I mean, they are different. Again, though, we spoke about the pressure a little bit there. They are different, but by the same token, is it just consequence? Did you do anything slightly differently? Or
no, I had to learn. Unusually, it wasn't like a normal golf tournament. Major championship. It took me probably 4 or 5 visits to a major to understand how to play them, because there's just so much going on at the tournament. There's so many people there. So many friends come out of the woodwork and are turning up and want to see you, or want free tickets, or want to take you out for dinner, and all those types of things, which are lovely. and I hugely appreciate that, but it completely distracts you from what you're there to do. And it just took me a long time to understand that at major championships, you really have to be quite selfish and be very regimented with your program of preparing for the week. So, a lot of people love to get there on Monday and start to sort of soak it all up, all the atmosphere and what have you. And it was difficult because it was just like a circus, and everyone wants a piece of you. And it took me, as I say, about four appearances before I figured out I need to do this differently. So it was the one event out of all events that you'd ever play that you'd have to treat differently.
Okay.
So once I'd begun to find my accommodation a lot earlier, try and get as close to the course as I could, but find some peace during the week. So, make sure that you turn up, an hour and a half before your tee time on a practice day. Literally arrive, put your shoes on, go straight to the range, go through your routine, do some work on the putting green, get to the first tee, get out there as early as you can, because Open Championship practice rounds are always the longest, because everyone seems to think that spending 6 hours on a golf course is fun. It isn't. So get out as early as you can, play a normal round of golf at a normal pace. Look at the things the normal way that you would do, come off the golf course, have a bit of lunch. If you needed to go and do a little bit of work on chipping or putting or whatever it might be afterwards, do that. And then once you're done, get out of town. Get out of there, go back to your digs, get washed, changed, go for a walk along the beach, whatever it might be. But don't hang around, because you expend so much energy bumping into people, having a chat, asking you how you're going to play this week. There's just too much attention.
And
so it took me a while.
Obviously you got quite good at it and used to it. And I'm going to roll forward a little bit then. So, and I'm sure you get asked this many times. And 2002, I remember watching it, and there you were. But before that happens, you're pegging it up like everybody else on the first tee of a major. Where's the mindset? Because it's the first tee shot, and you got 4 days ahead of you. Hopefully, you've got to make the cut first of all. And that particular week, were you feeling good going into 2002?
Yeah, I was playing well, and I had good memories of Muirfield. I'd beat Darren Clark in the British Amateur there 8-6, and I love the golf course because it's probably one of the fairest links golf courses on the planet.
Yes, I love it as well.
You've got an outer circle that runs clockwise, and then you've got an inner circle that runs anti-clockwise, so you get every different wind. And yeah, I mean, it was tough. The course was set up tough. If you were quite wayward, you get yourself into quite thick rough. But yeah, you start the week out like every week, right? One shot at a time. It's the old cliche. Let's try and hit the fairway. And ironically, I missed the first fairway the first 3 days. Changed driver going into Sunday, and I hit the fairway on Sunday and went on to make bogey. Here we go. But yes, starting the week out, you're just trying to settle into the tournament and just get into a rhythm. That's the key thing.
And then you're waking up that Sunday morning then. So you're obviously there, you're in contention, you're thinking a good one and what can happen. And obviously through 9 on the last day, how are you feeling then?
Well, I played with Sergio on the Saturday through that storm, that horrific storm, and I played my boots off through 15 holes. I was level par, which was like 7 better than the field average. And then I unfortunately finished bogey. And obviously that was I had made myself an opportunity and threw it away towards the end. So I was gutted. But driving to the course on Sunday morning, I phoned my then coach, was Ewan Murray, Sky's Ewan Murray. And I said, listen, I'm going to play well today. I know it. I said, what am I going to have to think about when I'm out there? Because, I've not been in this position before. And I wasn't super close to the lead, but I was within touching distance. And he said, his words to me, he says, look around you, the clouds, the trees, the birds, they're all going to be there tomorrow, and none of them care what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Go out there and just enjoy the process. Go through your normal routine. Don't look at leaderboards. Just go out there and see what happens. So I bogey one. So I've made 4 bogeys in a row. The last 3 last night and the first one on Sunday morning. So, and that really settled me down. It was really bizarre. It really settled me down. And then I go birdie, 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 par. A birdie 6. And I come off the 6th green with Dominic, my caddy, and I said, I don't know what's going on here. Don't leave my side and don't talk about golf. But don't stop talking to me. All right?
Okay.
So we walk off the 7th tee. He starts jabbering me ear about football or something. I don't know. I couldn't honestly tell you. But we were nice drive, lovely 8 iron, 5 feet in, birdie, another birdie. I birdied 8. I parred 9. I hit a good drive. I came off a 4 iron to the short right of 10. And I've seen it once previously. I hold about an 80-foot putt from just short of the green on 10. And I walked over to Dominic and I said, what the F is going on here? And he just started chuckling. He says, I don't know, he says, but just keep doing it. Like, so we walked to the 11th tee, which is a tough drive up over a hill. And I buttoned it straight over the hill, hit a lovely 9 iron into about 12 foot, hold it again for another birdie. Now I know I'm leading. I've had like, I don't know, 8 birdies in 11 holes or something stupid. I know I'm leading. And a par 12, I make a really good up and down at 13. 14, I hit 2 iron, 7 iron to 20 foot, hit a good putt, just edged the hole, tap in. I get to 15, I hit 3 iron, 8 iron to 4 foot, but it's a straight downhill putt. And I hit what I thought was a perfect putt. And it catches the right lip of the hole, kind of speeds up and runs about 3 foot past. And this was the first time that I had a difficult shot. Like, I hadn't been under pressure all day. And I put the putter down and suddenly, you know, the putter's starting to shake a little bit. And I knocked it.
Heart rate's up.
Yeah. I knocked it in, walked to 16th tee, pin middle left, right behind the bunker. So I'm aiming at the fat of the green to the right. 6 iron, I got it a little bit thin. It gets up into the front middle of the green and it runs all the way back, 20 yards short of the green. Now I've got to go over the bunker to a flag, which is probably 25 foot down the green. And I hit, and so all those years of farting around the putting green at Worthing, you know, with different clubs, trajectory, strike. I didn't hit a 58 degree. I had a 52 degree wedge. I executed probably the best chip shot of my life, and it stopped a 1/4 inch from the middle of the hole. And I tap it in, and I walk to the 17th tee. And I've seen the replay once, and Alex Hay turned around and says, "This young lad, he looks so calm. He looks so, you know, relaxed."
Well, I'll stop you there.
If only he knew.
I'll stop you there before we go to the iconic and the big moment that takes place on 17. And what's interesting there, Gary, is again you have beautifully depicted every single shot as if you were living it. And the question I asked you is, how did your front 9 go?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I completely lost track of my score. I wasn't even, all I was doing was 1 shot at a time, seeing the picture in my head, being very clear about what club selection and executing that shot. So it was vision, reaction. And that's what was going on. it was only about on the 12th hole when I started to get nervous because I knew I was leading. You know, the then leaders in the clubhouse were teeing off probably an hour and a half behind me, so there were probably 7 holes behind me, something like that. But yeah, I mean the front nine just
and then 17. So I'm sorry we got to do this, but we got to do this because this is a moment which I think made me jump out of my chair and everybody that was watching. I mean, it will go down in absolute open folklore history, and today I believe there is actually starting, or maybe just started, the Open of the Ages. So you never know, Gary. That may be on there. You never know. But yeah,
no. I mean, look,
let's see.
17, you know, par 5, dogleg right to left. Difficult drive for me because there's bunkers on the elbow, on the inside of the elbow, and I was a fader. So I had to aim at the bunkers and try and fade it off to get into the middle of the fairway. And it was running fairly firm at the time. And I buttoned the drive, but I didn't have much fade on it. I was begging it to cut, and it missed the bunkers by about a yard and run up into the middle of the fairway. And the fatal mistake that I made, walking off the 17th tee, for a split moment in my head, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to win the Open. And as soon as I thought it, I tried to unthink it, because you never, ever get ahead of yourself. Ever get ahead of yourself. And I did for that split second. So we wander up the fairway. Dominic's in my ear, chatting away, doing a great job. 256, I think I had the flag pin cut mid right hand side, forward. And so I'm aiming left edge of the green, trying to, you know, just button one. And my backswing was just a little bit short, and I just threw the hands of it a little bit, and I just tugged it. It wasn't a hook, I just pulled it. And I thought, well, it'll be all right, you know, it'll be okay. We'll be chipping up the green from the rough, but, you know, at least I've got nothing to go over. So we're taking a walk up there, and I see all these people sort of, you know, looking around, and I'm thinking, surely they found it. I mean, there's like thousands of people out there. Someone would have seen it. By the time we get up there, no one's got it. So we're looking around. The referee says 5 minutes, let's go. So we're looking around, and there's cameramen sticking their lenses in my face. I'm going, guys, please, come on, just look for the ball. So I find the first ball, it's the Titleist, but it's not my number. I find the second ball, it's a different make. Find 5 golf balls. And the last ball is a Titleist, and it's a Titleist 2, which is what I was playing. And I put the pencil in, and I look to see if my mark's on the ball, and it's not my ball. So the referee says time. So I said to Dominic, give me the ball and the forward. He says, no. He says, I'm coming with you. I said, just give me the forward and the ball. He says, no, I'm coming with you. And he did the best job. He walked with me every step of the way back down the fairway. And, you know, initially in my head, you know, I'm thinking, you know, I've blown it. But Dominic was persistent, just talking. He says, come on, son. He says, we can still do this. It's not a problem. He says, bang it on the green, 2 putts, make a bogey. We've still got this. So I dropped the ball. I flushed the forward, get it onto the back left side of the green. And we're walking up there. And you can ask Dominic Bott's his name. You can ask him this. This is the gospel truth. I said to him, as we walk past the bunkers that are about 60 yards short of the green, I see the ball on the green. I said, Dominic, I am going to hold this. I am absolutely going to hold this. And walked up there, he gave me the putter. I looked from behind the ball at the line. It was a snake putt, you know, double break. I walked all the way around to the other side, double checked it, came back again, got over, went through my routine. And as I put the putter down behind the ball, the putter's shaking. I looked up, the usual 2 looks, swung back, and the ball disappears into the middle of the hole at the perfect pace, and the place goes crazy. So I've managed to steal a par out of, you know, a situation that I should have at least dropped at least 1 shot. And the hilarious thing was, I go over and you know, the camera's in my face. I said, that's for you, Mum, and everything calms down. Scott Verplank goes on, makes birdie. And as I was walking past the grandstand at the back of 17, there's an RNA official's wife who I've known for years, and bless her, she must be about 80. And I've got my head down and my cap down because I'm trying to calm down. I've got a hole to play. I'm trying to calm down and get back in the zone because I've got one more hole to play. And as I'm walking past, she's literally on her knees and she looks up at me with both arms aloft. She goes, "Come on, Gary, you can fucking do this." And it was hilarious.
Amazing.
And I walked out into the 18th fairway, and you have to walk back about 80 yards to the tee. And suddenly I felt like I was in a bit of an amphitheatre. And I felt like all eyes were on me. And suddenly, the pressure you talk about, suddenly it was intense and it was incredibly difficult to cope with. And, you know, there was too much indecision on the final tee. Do I hit 2-iron and take the bunkers out of play, or do I hit driver and just risk it for a biscuit and try and get it up there as close as possible? 18 is a tough hole, long hole, tough hole. And I ended up going with 2-iron, and I made the same swing as I made on the 17, but this time rather than throw the hands at it, I blocked it. So I blocked 2-iron right into the rough. Didn't have a good enough lie to go for the green, hit 9-iron to try and get it up close to the green. The rough grabbed hold of the hosel, flipped it over. I get a snap hook, goes into the grandstand. Suddenly I feel like Jean van der Velde. I get a free drop. I'm a good 100 yards short of the green. Free drop, get a reasonable lie, played a sand wedge. And there's a little ridge that runs sort of slightly diagonally across the green, and it just caught the wrong side of the ridge and just fell off the edge of the green. But I'm only 20 foot from the hole. Played a little chip and run with a 7-iron, caught the edge of the hole, but ran 8 foot past. So I looked up at the leaderboards, and there I am with a 2-shot lead, and I've got this putt for bogey. So effectively, I've got this putt for the Open in my mind. And I've marked the ball, and Dominic's behind me, gives me the ball back. And as I put the ball down, my hands are shaking. I flip the marker away, pick it up. It's a 2-inch break outside the left lip. So, you know, it wasn't an easy putt from 8 foot. And he just banged me on the back, says, "Come on, son, knock it in." I went through my routine, looked up, just absolutely hit the most perfect putt, goes in the middle of the hole. And the relief was like nothing I've ever felt, ever. It was like, I've done it, I've done it, I've done it, I'm done. And I was shot to pieces. Emotionally, I was shot to pieces. And mentally, I was exhausted because, you know, you'd had this kind of roller coaster last 20 minutes on 17. You know, for the round up until 17, it was a gradual sort of a slope of nerves kicking in, but dealing with it because it was on a level. But what happened at 17 completely threw me. It was like doing the loop, you know.
I mean, that adrenaline kicks in, and I've studied it a lot, and I'm sure you have, right? Even post events, the fight and flight, the adrenaline rush, and the skill sets to be able to breathe. And so I totally can understand that, but not to that level. I mean, that is through the roof, Gary, and not many people will ever, maybe that will never happen. I mean, the putt you do make at 17, and I mean, if you look at it, and I know sadly you didn't make the playoff, missed out one, and obviously the eventual winner being Eddie Els, but start of the week, start of that 9, you probably look at that and that journey, that story, that, I mean, you own that, and you've had to, you know, embrace it, love it, and accept it. And that accept part is a big part, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, would I have done things differently? You know, I don't think you can ever do that because you always try. In my mind, you never make a wrong decision because you wouldn't make that decision if you thought it was wrong to begin with.
Correct. Yeah.
Could I have hit driver? Of course I could have hit driver. I was trying to think clearly. I thought, those bunkers down the left were murderous on 18. I can't go in that bunker, otherwise I could be staring at a double. So trying, you know, I took the percentage, and unfortunately it just didn't work out for me. And you can never talk about, you know, had I made par there, how would that have affected, you know, the guys behind me? You can't even have that conversation.
No, it's a really interesting one. I mean, you say that didn't work out for you, but in a way, you glanced off the bunker at 17 and missed that bunker by fraction. And then it's the butts, and the crazy game that we all love, I think, and all enjoy, and sometimes hate called golf, yeah. But amazing story, and thanks ever so much for doing that with so much heart. And that was.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But up to sort of present day moments now. So obviously Hugo Boss were always a big supporter of you, I believe, back in the day. I always remember watching you with your flock of blonde hair and your lovely outfits on.
They're gone.
I did have blonde hair. That's definitely all gone. So yeah, you're still very much involved with Hugo Boss right now.
Yeah. So I was only with one clothing company my entire career, and after quitting golf, I consulted to them from 2009 till last year on their global sponsorship platform, which was really interesting. I learned a great deal, so that was great fun. And then about 4 years ago, I set up my own sales agency here in Great Britain and Ireland, and my company, Iconic Golf Group. We're the exclusive agents for Hugo Boss in Great Britain and Ireland. So we've built a platform of just under 100 accounts in Great Britain and Ireland, and a guy called Ian Proven and myself go out on the road, see our accounts, and we obviously represent the Hugo Boss brand, take samples out and take orders, and that's been great. It would be great to have one or two other brands that we could sell into that same account base, but you're looking for, it's hard to find the right product that will fit alongside that. I don't particularly want to do another apparel brand. I'd like to have maybe a hardware brand or a product that I can sell into that same group. But yeah, I mean, 28 years with Hugo Boss now. It's quite, you know, I don't think anyone's been with one brand for that long.
Amazing, and it's lovely clobber, says he wearing that, but no, it's but yeah, I mean, any exciting things coming up? So I know you're still obviously a player, you're still golfing, and I know we're getting a little bit achy of it, so it's certainly no gyms open at the moment, but any aspirations, sort of seniors tour? And
yeah, I mean, I played the senior tour last year, which was, you know, the first year I've competed after, you know, it's 14-year sabbatical. It's quite a long time, and I really, really enjoyed. I can't say enough about Ryan Howsam and Stay Shaw for what they've done for the European Senior Tour. I think he's done a tremendous job. The events themselves are a great deal of fun. They're 3 rounds, no cut. We often play, you know, a couple of pro-ams, actually one before and even during the 3 rounds you play, you know, with amateurs, which is, I've always enjoyed playing with amateurs. It's, you know, some pros are a bit arsey when it comes to playing pro-ams, they don't like it, but I've always really enjoyed, you know, interacting and meeting new people. So I really enjoyed the last year. I played some of the best golf I've ever played last year. Unfortunately, because my time was limited in terms of practice, my short game, which was traditionally the best part of my game, was the worst part of my game. Last year, I finished 18th on the Order of Merit, which I thought was pretty decent after a 14-year layoff, and I qualified for the USPGA Championship and the Senior British Open, which, you know, will happen now next year, because obviously this year, you know, the tour got cancelled because of COVID. So I'm really looking forward to 2021, and I know that Stay Shaw and the European Tour have found some new events which are yet to be released, and I'm really enjoying my golf again. I just physically need to remain, you know, competent and get into the gym, and you know, this COVID thing's not done much for my belly. I've put about a stone on in weight, so I need to get on the bike again and do some work and strengthen myself again. I haven't played any golf this year. So right now my focus is on my sales business, and I set up, as I said, I set up this little website just to, I thought it'd be interesting to share. You know, it's been nice talking to you today about, you know, some of the stuff, but I've set up a website, and I'm going to tell stories on my blog as and when they come to me, I'm going to sit down and I'll get plenty of time to myself.
You've got many stories there in the locker, I'm sure, Gary. Yeah?
There's a few. I might need some legal advice on one or two of them, but yeah.
Well, I'm gonna look to watching those with a lot of fun and interest, because thank you ever so much, and I look forward to catching you out on the fairways again very soon.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Yeah.